Hey there, hi, how are you? I'm the Geek with the Gab, and last time I delved into what I thought were the absolute depths of what Megan Fox had to offer. Megan Fox, who challenges just how far you can go in Hollywood with a pretty face and absolutely no talent to back it up. I'd heard rumors, though, of another movie that challenged just how bad Jonah Hex was. I didn't want to believe such a movie existed, but I'm sorry to say I have seen this unfortunate hunk of cinema. But is it as bad as all the whispered legends say? Yes. Yes, it is. But don't take my word for it. Let's take a look at the 2010 cinematic masterpiece, Passion Play. We start off with Mickey Rourke, who, believe it or not, can't actually play the trumpet. That doesn't stop first-time director Mitch Glazer from showing him... No, this doesn't work if you can't see me. Showing him several times throughout the movie plying his trade. We see him snatch his weekly pay from his boss's poker game, then get cold-cocked on the way out to his car by Chuck Liddell in a pointless cameo. Liddell drives Rourke out into the middle of nowhere to kill him because he took money from the poker game, stalled Sin City 2 to the point of irrelevance, insisted on wearing tighty-whities in Iron Man 2. Liddell never says. He never says anything, really. As he gets ready to pull the trigger on our main character, we're treated to some unnecessarily long slow-mo as Rourke silently, oh so silently, contemplates his existence. Before an unseen gunman puts a few in Liddell's chest. He collapses, and thus ends a performance so embarrassing for him, it's not even listed on his Wikipedia page. His appearance in Kick-Ass 2? Listed. Not this one. As Liddell dies in the dirt, with Rourke staring on in surprise, a group of people in geese run up, steal the gun, and then run away. They are never seen again, nor are they ever explained. The movie just needed some reason for Rourke not to have the gun, and so they threw a few extras and spare costumes, I assume. At this point, Rourke stumbles through the desert in silence. This would be a great time for some voiceover to give some backstory, explain why he was driven out into the desert to be killed, or at least have him mutter to himself, even if just to give a name to put with the character. But he doesn't. Just silence, until he stumbles upon a circus in the middle of nowhere, run by Rhys Ifans, looking like a meth-addicted Paul Giamatti. Rourke, whose character name still hasn't been announced, pays to get into this mysterious circus so that he can use the phone. He quickly becomes distracted by Lily, played by Megan Fox, who I'm sure he's totally interested in for her mind, and not her great honkin' wings. He's so distracted he apparently completely forgets about finding a phone to get a ride back from the middle of the desert after nearly getting murdered only to be saved by mysterious extras in random costumes. Nah, he doesn't have time for that. He has to peek through Megan Fox's window. Something he manages to get caught at without getting a gun held to his head for the second time in 24 hours. He just says,
"Hey, can I come in?
Nope.
Please?"
Okay.
Let's face it, ladies, if you saw this mug staring through your window, even if you knew it was multi-millionaire, Academy Award-nominated actor Mickey Rourke, you'd be calling the cops because... damn. She lets him in, though, and they chit-chat. Here we find out that she's from some unspecified place south of the border. But because the owner of the circus is British, and because she used to watch American movies, she speaks perfect English, with no real accent to speak of. This is never brought up again. I just wanted to point out this piece of crappy writing because it's that damned stupid. As is this.
How long you been an angel?
After a whopping 3 minutes of conversation, Rourke, whose name has finally been revealed as Nate Poole, invites Fox to run away with him. Fox says no, marking the first bit of writing in this movie that has felt true to life. Rourke leaves only to be met by the owner of the circus, who invites him in for a drink. before attacking him and attempting to kill him. Afraid that Nate here might leak word that Lily's wings are real. Because publicity's the enemy, I guess.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Lily crashes her truck, minus the trailer where she keeps all her stuff, into the tent. Poole leaps in and off they go, narrowly escaping a mercifully early end to the movie. This is apparently the only vehicle owned by the entire circus, despite evidence to the contrary, because no one even tries to chase our two leads. At a gas station in the middle of nowhere, Rourke calls random woman we don't know and fills her in. Here, a woman we don't even know gives us the exposition we need. We find out that the reason our hero, for lack of a better word, was nearly offed by a retired UFC fighter in the middle of the desert was because he slept with the wife of some guy named Happy, who I guess you don't just call.
You want me to just call Happy Shannon?
We find out that Lily's wings aren't strong enough for her to fly, but if the wind is just right, she can glide briefly, which I'm sure won't be coming back as a plot point later. Nate snaps a couple pictures of her, accompanied by the call of a million naive college girls before her.
Okay, but if I don't like these, you're gonna throw them away, okay?
It was probably a bad idea to give us this many good looks at the wings. It lets us see just how cheap and fake they really are. But to the costume people's credit, they do accentuate Megan Fox's acting perfectly. The odd couple gets a hotel room with some super realistic looking snow, less than a day's drive north of the border, I might add, and Lily tells Poole that she's never seen the ocean, something he seems to have a hard time believing.
You ever seen the ocean? Never? You ain't never seen the ocean.
Well, seeing as she's never been to the States and yet has a perfect grasp of English without even the hint of an accent, she let your ugly ass into her trailer after about 1 minute of screen time, decided to run off with you after about 3 minutes of screen time. Oh yeah, and she has friggin' bird wings. I'd say her not seeing the ocean ever is ranking pretty low on the list of unbelievable things about this girl. Poole compliments Lily on her wings, which she doesn't take too kindly to.
Holy shit. And I'm telling you, I'm never gonna get used to this.
But he asked you to.
And she storms off. This leads to a deep and meaningful conflict between the two where they grow as characters and grow closer as friends. Nah, I'm just kidding ya. It's completely glossed over as one of our leads appears completely topless. Spoiler alert, it's Mickey Rourke. Ugh, Mickey Rourke nipple. In the morning, Lily leaves Poole and his magically, mercifully reappearing shirt so that she can go get a surgeon to hack her wings off. I'd like to point out that the kid from X-Men The Last Stand had the cojones to do it himself. But this leads to some pointless conflict as Nate tracks her down and stops her, while taking a break to pull a cigarette out of his ass. I swear, you want a good drinking game? Have a drink every time you spot a continuity error in this piece of crap. Poole storms into the doctor's office with no one trying to stop him because, that's how that works, and gets confrontational with the doctor in what surely would have just been a consultation meeting. Though the way the writing on this goes, I wouldn't have been surprised to see Nate kick in the door to see this.
Who's laughing now?
This scene, which is full of possibilities for conflict as the movie goes on, is never referenced again. It has once again been completely pointless. File that doctor in the same column as the gun-stealing wackos from the desert. Nate and Lily drive into town where Nate has a meeting with Happy, played by... come on, Bill. You wouldn't do Ghostbusters 3, but you'll do this? Bill Murray, who is notoriously difficult to get to even look at a script, let alone sign on for a movie, felt that passion play, was an essential part of his repertoire? Is he at least good in this?
I don't have a wife, Mr. Poole. I'm a widower.
So, Nate proposes he and Happy start Lily on her career path of vague, undefined, profitable business specifically suited for girls with wings. I guess I can't prove that's not a thing. But Happy isn't convinced by the pictures and wants to see Lily firsthand. Nate, with his first intelligent thought of the movie, decides that Happy probably intends to shoot him and snatch her up for free at the first opportunity. So he arranges something a little different. He allows Happy to see her from a distance, through binoculars, at a concert venue at which the filming crew couldn't even get to stop rehearsals for the filming. After seeing all he needs, Happy orders his lackey to, imagine that, kill Rourke and snatch the girl. Poole drives off before the gunman can get there, though, and takes Lily out for a night on the town. So, one of the ugliest leading men since Ernest Borgnine has one of the biggest sexual icons of that particular 2-week stretch on a date. Where does he take her? Why, to an empty theater, of course. The significance? Remember that whole exchange about how she'd never seen the ocean? Nate has decided to take this beautiful woman to see a backdrop that shows the ocean. Obstructed view, of course, so they could listen to the radio. Brilliant. He then fake plays the trumpet for her so poorly, a blind man could tell it was all an act. It works, though, because the script demands it, and Nate and Lily have weird, freaky sex. Freaky simply because Mickey Rourke is involved. I'll give you a moment to let that sink in.
I need this, I need love, I need you. You're around, you're right here, so you'll do. Please just be a woman. Just any old woman.
The next morning, following the proud tradition of Jonah Hex, we get more evidence to prove that no one can sleep with Megan Fox without being instantly discovered, as Happy Strongarm uses a knife to check Poole's earwax. Seriously, does she have like one of those home security devices down there?
Beedo, 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 beedo.
This scares the wings off Lily, only briefly though, as Happy explains the arrangement Nate had proposed. Plotting to exploit a young woman to pay off a mob boss isn't so much of a turn-on for Lily, though she fell for the whole radio in front of a cheap backdrop thing, so we can't blame Nate for trying. Lily agrees to be Happy's personal angel girl, as long as Nate isn't killed. Happy agrees, and off they go, just in time for Nate to undergo a beating so brutal, the camera has no choice but to cut to a newspaper.
Sometimes there's so much beauty in the world. I feel like I can't take it.
He calls that random woman from earlier to help him out because I guess Jessica Alba wasn't available. And she helps nurse him back from a beating so severe he can't even feed himself. Though it miraculously didn't leave a single mark on his body.
You can beat them with a sack of sweet Valencia oranges. They won't leave a bruise and they'll let them know who's boss. There's no doubt about it.
Random woman decides to help the fragile coot sneak into Happy's home, which is apparently a simple matter of driving in and dropping him off. He does his own super spy thing, storming the gate.
Against all odds, infiltrate, storm the gates.
And finds the love of his life. She, of course, with all the passion and supreme acting skills we've come to expect from Megan Fox, says,
I want you to go. Let's go.
So he does. This causes Poole to hit rock bottom, going so far as to sell his beloved trumpet. I'd like to point out that at this point he's known Lily for less than a week, but hey, who hasn't been ready to raid a mob boss's house, smash a glass with their bare hands, and sell their most prized possession after losing someone they've only known for a week? The next day, he meets up with an old friend of his who has a gig for him. Probably should have checked on that one before selling your trumpet, but what do I know? He shows up to the gig, somehow obtaining a brand new trumpet. Don't ask, we're really close to the end at this point. Wouldn't you know it though, the event he's playing at is thrown by our very own Happy. He and Lily show up, and Lily shares a meaningful glance with Nate before walking away. This high school drama is enough to set Nate off though, as he leaves before the end of his set, and ends up at a bar, where he rolls a napkin-covered lemon at a woman in a successful attempt to woo her. In her defense, she does have a tattoo of Jesus on her ass, so clearly she doesn't have a history of good decisions. The girl injects Nate with an unspecified bad drug, which makes him all woozy, only to find out that the girl is working for Reese Fonz. Oh, and look, she has angel wings tattooed on her back. Symbolism! Fonz goes to find Lily, leaving Poole to die, but Random Woman shows up just in the nick of time, and she knows just how to counteract this deadly cocktail. She slaps him and kinda sprays some cold water on him. Like Popeye hopped up on spinach, Poole is up and at him, ready to fight for the woman he loves. Meanwhile, at Happy's hacienda, Fonz breaks in to Lily's room. Happy lets him get a half sentence out before shooting him. For whatever reason, he's unhappy with Lily in regards to this development, as he drags her away to serve his own nefarious needs at a little shindig he's throwing. Nate manages to sneak into Happy's party using the same elaborate technique as Pee Wee Herman, and quickly finds his way upstairs to the main event, at which there is absolutely no security. There, Lily stands in a box with her wings on display, having come full circle. Nate walks right up to the glass with no resistance, punches Happy in the face, bursts through the glass, and drags Lily away. Lily, channeling some of that magic shirt juju from Nate, somehow goes from this to this in a matter of seconds while running from the security guards, who finally pulled their heads out of their asses. They climb to the rooftop, where Nate foils the plans of men whose bread and butter is physical labor by putting a wheelbarrow on top of the hatch. An empty wheelbarrow. Yeah. He then tells Lily she has to fly. When she says she can't, Nate jumps off the building, urging her to save him. And wouldn't you know it, that's just the jolt she needed to push herself beyond her own physical limits and fly away. Well, that's some really crappy green screen. She saves him from the splattery death the entire audience was praying for by this point. They fly away, out over the desert, and past a familiar-looking figure, revealing that all of this was just a dying dream of Nate, and nothing past that stupid slow-motion eagle shot actually happened. That is how it all ends. This movie... The most astonishing thing about this movie is the fact that director Mitch Glazer, first-time director, believe it or not, took 20 years on this movie. I can't tell if the damn thing's overdeveloped or underdeveloped, but it's gone a mile in whatever direction it's gone. It is embarrassingly bad. It's not even The Room level of bad. That's at least entertaining. This movie is just... it's just useless. I'm the Geek with the Gab, and if you'll excuse me, I've got some work to do.
Against all odds, infiltrate